In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and install Blender. Okay, so here we are on blender.org, the official Blender website, and this is where you're going to go to download Blender if you don't already have it installed. If you already have a version of Blender and it's not Blender 3.5, I would recommend upgrading to that just now, just in case the version you have has a slightly different UI or has some features that are lacking compared to the version I'm using. So on blender.org, we have two options for downloading. We can click straight away right on the home screen on the download button, or we can go to download on the top bar. I'm going to click on download on the top bar, and we have a few options here, so let's just run through them. We have the download Blender 3.5 button, which is the most recent stable version of Blender. It's automatically recognised that I'm on Windows, and it's given me the option for the installer, which pretty much does all the hard work for you. We have a drop down for other versions of Blender, so if you happen to be on Mac or Linux, Steam, or if you want to get the actual source code and build your own version of Blender, you can do that there. I would just stick with the installer. Now, obviously I already have Blender installed, but you would just click this to open up the installer. I'm going to click on that so I can show you what happens. We go to this page, Blender's downloading. We have a link to support Blender Studio, and if you do have the means to, I would definitely recommend supporting Blender and joining the studio. There's a lot of great training videos, free assets and tools on there. Now if I just go back to the download screen, and if we roll down a little bit, we also have this option looking for Blender LTS. So what LTS is long-term support. What that means is it's versions of Blender, such as 3.3 or 2.93, that are going to be supported by blender.org for at least 2 years. So if you're working on any kind of long-term project and you don't plan on changing Blender at all during that time, I would recommend sticking with 3.3 because it will get bug fixes for at least the next 2 years. Now going back to the download page, if we go further down, we also have an option for Go Experimental. If we click on Download Blender Experimental, we get a list of all the daily builds, including things like the 3.5.1 release candidate and the 3.6 alpha. Now some of these will have additional features or tools or bug fixes. Particularly Blender 3.6 alpha will have features that may not be in Blender 3.5 at all, but do bear in mind that things may change between now and the official release, and there may also be an additional number of bugs in that software. So now that the installer has downloaded, I'm going to click on that. You could also find that in your downloads folder. And this is just one of your standard setup wizards where you would click on next, go through, choose where you want to save Blender and where you want to install that. Now, because I already have it installed, I only get the option to change, repair or remove. So I'm just going to cancel out on that, but you would just click next and follow any of the instructions. Okay, challenge time. So your challenge in this video is to go to blender.org, go to the download page and download the most recent version of Blender. Now for me, that's version 3.5, but depending when you're doing this course, it might be a newer version. So have a go at that and join me in the next video.